Hello YouTube and welcome back to Drakey's Let's Play Developer Commentary of Philly Fantasy VI. We're just starting off at the South Figaro, or rather, Ponyville cave? I actually can't remember what I called the cave right now. What is it? Okay, I don't know. Let's say the cave to Ponyville. That sounds about right. And of course we get attacked by parasites on the way to Ponyville. You know, that just fits. Let's electrocute them. That is an odd looking white spot on the blurries. What is that? I don't know. You look at some of these sprites for so long, you start noticing design oddities. Why is that there? Why does this sprite look like that? I don't know. No, don't put flash this. Don't you dare put... Okay. Twilight, electrocute them again. They annoy me. Wow, I didn't think I made them this strong. Oh. Wow. Okay, it's a good thing it's a healing spring up here, because Twilight ran out of MP in one fight. Oh, wow. So, that's an interesting way to start this recording session. Hi, Tank! Did not intend for that tortoise to come up bright green, but it did, and now it is Tank. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Heartburn! I remember as a kid I always thought like these were giant pairs of jaws, but no, like they're giant like slugs curled over with their tails in the air. And okay, I get that, but like, why would a slug have a pose like that? It's just weird. Come on. I am resisting the urge to use the speed up button. I unfortunately don't have much to say at this part. You know, it's the cave to Ponyville. You know, let's just get through it. Dash button comes in handy. Oh, more of them. Okay, you know what? Let's noise blast them. How about that? Yes! That's good. Put each other to sleep. That sounds like a great plan. Thank you. And now Bioblast. That's the height of strategy at this point. Confuse enemies and then use magic and Bioblaster so the confusion doesn't wear off. Really? They have break? Huh. Okay, bored now. Oh good, they're dead anyway. And now he puts the Crawley to sleep. You won't even see this coming. How close is Celestial leveling up? Still a bit off. I don't remember changing her spell levels for this one. At least not that much. But you know, if she doesn't start with fire, I guess, you know, that's fine. You know, you still have Twilight, and Celestia can be your designated healer, and well, Twilight is your designated attacker. You know, so it's fine, it works. You ever have that moment where you just look at back at a past decision and are like, why did I make that? It's not a particularly bad decision, but why did I do it that way? I think there's gonna be a lot of moments like this in this hack. Come on, I gotta get to Ponyville. I'm running out of things to say in this game. It's just weak. Nothing is happening. This is the boring part of the LP. What do I talk about? So here's an interesting thing I learned. If you're immune to seizure or region, you're immune to the other as well. So initially on some relics that made you immune to statuses, it had to make you immune to seizure, but then it also made you immune to region as well. I don't quite know why that is. I do know that seizure and region have some programming quirks, like apparently some of the undead enemies in the game start with seizure because it was intended for seizure to have a reversed effect on the undead and heal them like region. But it didn't, because it's glitched or something. So here we are in Ponyville. Hello, Fluttershy. Thanks to our dash button, we're gonna catch up to you and talk to you. Hey, hello. Come on, Fluttershy. I know you don't like Flash, but come on. And here we go. Fluttershy's Lament, replacing Shadow's theme. I'll let that speak for itself while I talk to some NPCs and let the music play. This guy does not talk to you. And it's spell filled with so filled with so. And it's spell boy. I've loaded. Yeah, let's just simplify. Let's just call her Shy because, come on. Hello, Flash Sentry's brother in a turban. Rydell's battle sprite for the merchant initially had different colors, so I recolored them to match Flash Sentry's. Why I don't quite remember, because it's not like the Imperial recruits match Flashes, but you know, sometimes there's only so much you can do. Also, a fun tip, that's the same sprite used for generic dancers around the world, and the color scheme, if not necessarily the hairstyle, is based on Countess Coloratura. So, yeah. And also this character, if you wait in the bar for a few seconds, this little girl comes in, and it's a nothing scene, it's just a little extra, but in the World of Ruin, if you talk to the bartender, he mentions, you know, that little girl hasn't come around since the world ended. And I've seen some people, like, even for the original Final Fantasy VI, ask, what's he talking about? What little girl? Well, that's what he means. Oh, I know, my mistake. This is the Coloratura sprite. There's the proper hair color. Welcome to Ponyville! Thank you, Bonbon Palette Swap. And this is something where I actually did try to pay a lot of attention to NPC dialogue. Because that's one of the critical parts of an RPG. You talk to NPCs, they give you world building and hints of plot details and stuff. And I really wanted to preserve that, you know, so, you know, you go around town, you talk to the NPCs, they'll give you hints about where to go next, and they'll talk about plot elements to come up. Like, so, like that guy there is, you know, well, someone's probably leaving the castle wondering, well, why is Discord working with King Sombra? Well, but, you know, there's your answer. I do not actually have much money, do I? Yeah, I bought a lot of coffee. Damn, coffee being expensive. Well, it's okay, we'll get money later. Well, later, but shortly. Hi, Minuet. Actually, Minuet, her sprite works at the Opera House. Like, a lot of characters, like, I reuse the sprite for them. But it's usually intended to be placed somewhere specific. So, you know, you might see a lot of Minuet and Lyra sprites, but I usually specifically intend for one NPC in the world to actually be them and not just look like them. You know, I keep racking my brain, but I have no idea who to make that guy. You know, Zecora still isn't the most social pony, so I'm like, if I was gonna make this person, you know, someone from the show, who would it be? But then, like, who would, like, really know Zecora that well, except for Apple Bloom, and of course I can't use her. We'll avoid the rich guy's house, we don't need nothing there. Let's head up here. If I have one more sprite request, I might add to a later version. I might make this guy Randolph, or Randall, or whatever Diamond Tiara's butler was called. Because of course this is the richest man in town, so of course in this hack it is filthy rich. Because of course it has to be. I think it was just my idea to like make this pony kinda look like Filthy Rich. But then Rydell went and he made Filthy Rich the dedicated sprite form, and then made dedicated sprites for Spoiled Rich. Because, you know, I'm sure people were asking, where's she? We want to see Spoiled Rich in the game. And over here we have Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. That's something that Rydell did that, amazing stuff. The game has a hard limit to how many field sprites there can be. And I believe it's 168. And that's not necessarily NPC sprites, it's just, in general, anything that appears in the field. So like, save points, they use a sprite. The Magicite uses a sprite. All the static images of Espers. Basically, any object that appears in the field and is not part of the background, like the furniture in here, it actually uses an NPC sprite, and there's only 168 in the game. And I would say a little less than half of them are actually fully animated sprites for characters. The rest are static things, like I said, Magicite, letters, switches, certain switches, the cranes, I remember. So I had a very limited pool of NPC sprites to work with, and Rydell Fox figured out how to reprogram that and expand it to be basically infinite, as long as there's a space in the data where he can put the sprite data. So he figured out how to do that, and that allows a much larger cast of recognizable characters, and that's how we can have Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon and Filthy Rich, and all these other unique characters in the game. That's why I really say that Rydell Fox is I consider him more a co-creator more than just a graphic designer, because the programming stuff he did to this game allowed me to do things with the story that I couldn't have done otherwise. Let's get everyone suited up. And I bought it the thick petrol because, spoiler alert, Luna joins the party later, and I want to have that ready for her. And we'll buy a shield to take with us too. So let's get Flash suited up with Thief Shoe and the Sneak Ring. Deliberately we'll put down in that basement instead of the Relic with Haste, so he can start stealing better immediately. So there's nothing else here. So let's go fight with Celestia a bit and level her up. Well, that didn't take long. I want Celestia now on fire before we head out, but she'll probably let it along the way. We have a stop to make before we go to the next official dungeon. Yeah, I have to say, it just occurred to me now thinking, like, of this stuff. Like, I remember the backstory in Final Fantasy VI was that Sabin abdicated the throne because he wanted to go fight the Empire. But then, like, he just basically moved, you know, like, down the street to adjacent to South Figaro. Then again, you know, there's no real timeline for Final Fantasy VI's backstory that I know of, at least. Like, that's I think a major plot hole is, like, what are the Returners? Who is Banon? How did the Returners form? What is Sabin's... Does Sabin have a connection to them? You know, because he just happens to live, you know, near the Returner base. Now there's a game. Whoever's playing this, name all the palette swaps. The palette swaps need names. Go. Unicorn Range. And this is meant to be, like, this is where, okay, this is like where the kitty gloves come off. Okay, you know what? You've been to a couple dungeons that give you free healing, and you've had a chance to level grind a bit if you want, and stock up on healing items and new equipment and that. The kitty gloves are coming off, you know. Now it's time to actually start the game. So that's what this... Actually, I should have bought more apples. I came unprepared. And Celestia still has not leveled up quite yet. So yeah, we'll head back to Ponyville, get myself some good stock of healing supplies. But yeah, this is meant, like, this is, like, if you've played Final Fantasy VI before, I hope that this is the dungeon and subsequently the boss are the points where you'll realize, okay, this is where the difficulty starts, you know, going up a bit. You know, I can't one-shot everything with a one spell or one auto crossbow use here. Buy some more antidotes. I remember the one playthrough, a party member of mine got petrified. And I don't remember, and I remember being sparked, like, I gave this enemy the ability to petrify party members? Apparently I did. And it happened. And I was lucky, somewhere I had a moisturizer that I used to heal them, but I'm still like, okay, maybe I'll be careful on subsequent replays and bring moisturizers. Wow, this guy's like taking nothing. Hit speed up key here. I know that I can't remember to use Bolt because he absorbs Bolt. I remember he does that. So, you know, we're fighting the hard way. Ouch. Come on. How much HP did I give this guy? Okay, there we go. And now she'll level up and learn fire. Okay, now we're ready. Celestia is ready with an offensive spell. She gained a level. Twilight will level up shortly. Let's give it a shot. And someone pointed out, I think it was on Derpaboo, yes, Rydell designed these guys to look like Street Fighter characters. The various brawler palette swaps are designed to look like Street Fighter. I had a problem with that at first. And originally in the game, it was, you couldn't see who was shadowing the party. You just saw, like, it was a black silhouetted figure. And it was supposed to be Sabin shadowing the party. And I don't know, well, like, it's supposed to hint, you know, Sabin is here. But, on the other hand, I question why this is, because wouldn't Sabin recognize his brother and, you know, like, say hi? Like, why would he, like, be shadowing you up the mountain? So for this hack, and I don't know quite why, but you didn't directly see Sabin, you just saw his black outline. For this hack, that effect was lost, so you could see that it was quite clearly Luna. So I said, you know what, no, it's Gilda. You know, I've hinted that it's Gilda, and you only see like glimpses of her as you go. So let's have Gilda here and hint at the boss of the area. And that necessitated some minor event editing because Sabin does various poses that Gilda doesn't have in her sprite sheet, so I had to take those out. One of the things that's actually kind of surprising is all the minor things you have to change, which you don't know. Like I remember playing this, there's a lot of minor touches I had to change that I wouldn't even think those are things you have to change, but they are. And the one instance I remember is making Umaro fully playable when there's this guy, the guy on the airship that unequips all the party members of equipment. That's an event and it's scripted to ignore Umaro because you can't re-equip Umaro, so it's scripted to not unequip him. So I had to change that to no longer ignore Umaro. Just lots of minor little things like that. Come on. Jeez, the brawlers of this place hate me. These are the only enemies I'm encountering. This is what, my 5th, 6th battle, and it's always been a pair of brawlers. Oh wow, the Bioblaster one-shots him basically. Why am I wasting MP from my mages? Shouldn't I know how to play my own hack properly? You would think so, wouldn't you? Bracer Wing. I'll leave that off for now. I want Flash. Oh. Yeah, come to think of it, Flash isn't stealing anyway. Oh, leave the thief shoe on in case I want him to steal all of a sudden. There we go, something new. So how about some more mammoths? Burn them! One thing I do remember, especially for this part, is because the gameplay imbalances stick a little more in this early part when you don't have much access to strategic options. Like, really, strategy in this part of the game is limited to, well, okay, do I want Flash to deal physical or magical damage to all enemies? And is the enemy weak to / resistant to lightning or fire? And I remember some people were complaining, you know, like, why do the enemies in this early part of the game have so much HP? Well, unfortunately, at this early part of the game, that's the only way I have to increase the difficulty, you know? Like, I can't start, you know, have enemies start using magic attacks and status attacks left and right on you like I could late in the game, because you can't handle that this early in the game. So really, the only thing I have to up the difficulty with the players' limited access to equipment and abilities at this point is up enemy stats. And I do remember, especially in the world of Ruin, I didn't play around with enemy HP totals much. A lot in the world of balance. I do remember a lot of enemies had a lot of stat boosts in the world of balance, not so much in the world of Ruin. Because in the world of balance it was all about making the enemies tougher. In the world of balance it was more about making the party weaker. Because you get a lot of strong abilities in the world of balance. You know, you get weapons and blitzes and magic and that. In the world of Ruin, the game just like starts chucking you this overpowered equipment and abilities like Ultima and Meteor and the Offering and the Dragon Horn. Pardon me. And like, when you look at actually the attack scripts for enemies, the enemies are very strong. You know, they have strong attacks and they have decent stats, it's just that the party is so overpowered they can't handle it. So the World of Ruin was more about limiting the party's access to the really strong equipment and abilities, especially Ultima. You want Ultima in this game, you have to work for it now. Oh well, Celestia's out of MP. Oh, and Twilight's about to die, oh no. Phew! Yeah, Twilight, eat an apple or two. I know there's the save point coming up, we'll make it to the save point. And once again, this is another point where Gilda had some animations, or it was rather Sabin's sprite had some animations that Gilda doesn't have the sprites for, so I had to do some minor event editing here. They seem to die a lot easier when with other enemies than with each other. Bye, Gilda. See you in a minute. Okay, let me run across this bridge. Of course I can't. Wow, that actually did less damage than the crossbow. Once again, that gameplay balance poking up, you know, flat, the enemies have higher magic defense, I guess. There we go, that's better. Oh no. Oh yes, these guys. The poison guys. These guys I know absorb poison, so we're not gonna use the Bioblaster. That's one thing I hated with this game, those pixels randomly popping in and out along the bottom of the screen there. Nothing I can do about that. Apparently that's an emulator problem. That's nothing to do with the sprite or the hack or anything, that's just how some emulators work, and I hate it. It bugs me. I don't know why. Well, I mean, like, I don't know why the emulators do that. Wish they didn't. Wish they didn't. Come on, let me get through. I'm considering my MP. Flash Sentry Master. That's the thing, the other crossbow is still strong, you know, it's just not gonna one-shot everything, you know, it's gonna two-shot everything. And so that's just poisoned. Goody. By the way, what are those things supposed to be? Are they like the sentient plants? I think so, because you know, they're named after plants, like they're called trilliums. I think one later in the game is called the mandrake or something. But that's still odd, you know? That is a major thing that, like, the more you think about it with Final Fantasy VI, the bigger a plot hole becomes is, this whole thing, magic doesn't exist anymore, no one believes in magic. The more you think about that, the bigger a plot hole that is. Because, you know, you walk across the world, you encounter normal monsters all over the place that have magic. And then you think, well, how does Sabin have his magic attacks? And how can Gao use rages? And how do those Naish gods have that weird test in the mines that summon undead enemies to attack you if you don't tag the right light? You know, if people don't believe in magic anymore, then magic is everywhere in this world still. You know, it's just not front and center. Hello, Gilda. This is one of the more prominent story changes I made, that probably the first major story change that players are going to run into is the presence of Gilda in this hack. Okay, she's explicitly here from King Sombra, tracking you for him. And in the original hack, this was Zakor, or Duncan's son Vargas, who was a rival of Sabin, and he's just randomly here for some reason, and he fights you. Why? Who knows? But I changed it to Gilda, and I changed a couple minor bosses in the game to Gilda, so it's all the same character appearing repeatedly to track and fight the party on King Sombra's orders. I think just gives the Empire a bit stronger of a presence in the early game, and also makes Sombra a bit more of a presence. Oh, here we go. Good thing I cast Cure. Fun story. The first time I played this game, in the original game, Vargas had Gale Cut, which was a weaker version of Wind Slash. It was just Wind Slash with a slightly different color palette for the animation and weaker power. Well, I figured that's redundant because I want to have free up magic ability slots to have other things, so I changed it to Wind Slash here. And the first time I got into a fight with Gilda, she let loose Wind Slash, dealt 200 damage to the party, and wiped me out. And that's because I didn't quite understand how damage calculation worked back then. So as is now, Gilda's magic power is 0. But she still does around 80 damage to the entire party with Wind Slash. That's as weak as I can make it, without lowering the power of the ability itself and affecting every other enemy in the game that uses it. But yeah, that was a fun, interesting experience. The first boss of the game, 200 damage, OTKs the party. That's the wrong kind of difficulty, you know? And that's really my design philosophy in the game. I want this game to be more difficult than vanilla, but I don't want it to be punishingly hard. If you prepare properly and fight and use your party members and their abilities intelligently, you'll be just fine. I don't want any boss that just out of nowhere OTKs the party, no resistance. The Royal Canterlot voice! Luna! That is one thing though, because this isn't Vargas and Sabin as rivals, this whole conversation with Luna and Gilda. You know, like, well, what does Luna care about Gilda betraying him? But you know, that apparently editing battle cutscenes is very complicated and hasn't been touched much. At least, not by many people, and not something I wouldn't be comfortable doing, so I just changed the dialogue and make it fit as best I can. And it also lets me add a little foreshadowing here. You know, if Gilda's using Esper magic here, like, wait, Gilda has Esper magic? And that, you know, kind of hinting the Magitech confusions that were hinted at with the crystal ponies earlier. And as the part of the beginner's rite of passage, getting the first blitz input right. Everyone screws up. Like, I think everyone who's played Final Fantasy VI, you know, loses to Vargas the first time just while they figure out how to use the blitz inputs. Because it is kind of a thing that you don't necessarily expect the first time you play through the game, because it is a bit of a gameplay change and you're not completely sure, you know, when do you hold the buttons, when do you press the buttons, do you hold it while you do this, you know. That's one thing I did try to do with the hack. I know Pony Fantasy VI had a lot of meme references, and the memes, along with have not aged well, and with it, neither have those references to the memes. So when I made jokes, I tried to make it not so many meme references, but things such as, like, I know that got just kind of actual jokes and not just references. Like, you know, I only look like that on Nightmare Night. I think one of my favorite jokes that happened later is Scootaloo calling her moon butt. Because, let's be honest, you can be playing this 10 years later. If you watch the show, that's funny. Pardon me again. Pro tip. try not to LP when you're fighting off a I actually don't know what I have. I don't know if it's a cold or sinus infection or what, but I just have the sniffles. And one more brawler fight. One thing that was done, now the Blitz animation is replaced by a Moon animation. And I think it was someone on FF6 Hacking who explained to me how to do that. Pretty sure it was from someone from that site that explained it. Many thanks to them, if I remember that correctly. So one thing I'll just mention with Luna is, speaking of her Blitz/Alicorn commands, that's actually changed a lot from the base game. To begin with, they all deal physical damage, where in the original game, many of Sabin's blitzes dealt magical damage. And the major reason for that is just it's for consistency. You know, if Luna's gonna be an Earth Pony leaning character and have equipment that increases her physical stats, it makes sense that her ability relies on strength. Now the catch is though that a lot of them had a power boost because, as I said, the physical attacks are just plain weaker than magical attacks based on damage formulas. And the one specific thing I remember is, I believe, I tried to remember, I don't remember what the power is off the top of my head for, but in the one version of testing I gave Luna's Ultimate Blitz 80 power and made it magic, and it dealt like 6,000 damage or more. And then I took the same attack. Okay. Whew. Anyway, and then I took the same attack. I tripled its power to 240 and made it a physical attack, and it did like 2,500. That just the power discrepancy there. You know, just not changing anything else about attack, but changing the damage type from physical to from magical to physical is a huge nerf. But overall, so Sabin overall got nerfed, but as we'll see later, Luna's healing blitzes are much, much better. Particularly her penultimate one does not kill her and remove her from the party anymore. And I'm gonna grind up around here a bit while talking about Luna. You know what? Party could use some levels. It's actually, some players have said that her penultimate Alicorn skill is actually even better than the original. So here in the menu, you can see the other thing is, there was a fan patch I added, shows the name of the Blitz input, and you can see the commands are different. Different from vanilla. And the joke here is that the commands are all video game hacks. That'd be our little nudge nudge, wink wink to Gamer Luna. Right up I believe it's some sort of code from a Mortal Kombat game, I remember. XXY, I believe, comes from Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, where it's part of a cheat code to play minigames on the bonus map. And retained from Pony Fantasy VI now, Luna's ultimate Alicorn skill is inputted with the Konami code. Because what else could it be if I'm gonna, you know, use video game cheat codes to base for the command inputs around? Of course I have to have the Konami code in there somewhere, and of course it has to be the ultimate one. Okay, I think this is good for now, so let's head inside. The main force. You know, off the top of my head, I'm wondering if that's supposed to be the main or a helmet. I don't know if it matters or not. Fire Ruby, sure. I'm not quite sure why this is there. I think it was a green cherry in the original too, but you don't count on any that uses that for some time. There's my item stock. We'll buy another 10 just in case. Another coffee, cider cup. That's a big thing I did. Tinctures are so damn expensive in the original game. I thought, you know, if I'm gonna make MP costs higher and best starting MP lower, I gotta make tinctures a lot cheaper so that players can use spells more comfortably. And later in the game I've added the upgraded tinctures too, are purchasable instead of being rare items. And here's Sakura. Damn it. Oh, Zakora's rhymes. I hate writing Zakora's dialogue to do the rhyming. It's just a thing with fiction. I know that's just a thing in fiction that characters do, rhyming. And I don't know why. Like, why does Zakora rhyme? Like, you know, it's like, her character tick, okay, but like, why? And I poke fun at that in one of my fanfics, that, you know, like, I think Trixie, it's Kirima Crusader Magicians. Trixie asks her, do you practice that rhyming, or does it just come naturally? Because these are the kinds of things you think about when you're playing, when you're listening to Zakora's dialogue and you're writing dialogue for her. You have to think, does she practice? Does it just come out naturally? What? This is a little thing too, hinting at the arrival of Cadence later. And the original game Locke kinda hints at his, that he lost someone close to him to the Empire, but doesn't elaborate on it. And now let's loot the place. One change I did make is another change. In the original game, this was the white cape. It gave a boost to evade and M-block, and also protected against imp and mute. But the Zephyr cape just added a random evade effect. And I thought, well, why is one so much better than the other? So for this one, that protects against blind and sleep. So it's like the white cape is the anti-magical things, stops stuff that would stop you from casting magic. And the Zephyr cape stops stuff that would stop you from attacking. And granted, sleep would stop you from taking any action, but still. Another little minor event edit. In the original game, Saban laughs, Luna here just shakes her head. Looks a little awkward because of the mirrored sprites, but that's what she's doing. Did I spy a typo? No, I didn't. Okay. Decision looked like it was spelled wrong. And now that we've spoken to all of them, we can go outside, talk to Zakora. Now I'm gonna go outside and save, because I actually don't remember which option gives you which item, the gauntlet or the Genji glove, or rather the light shoe and the heavy shoe. Hang on. My little cheat there. I also just want to move my recorder over so I can see the timestamp. Oh, we're 43 minutes in. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take this now. Now, for when I was a kid, I didn't know that, I thought you had to say no to Bannon 3 times to get that. No, you just say no once, go talk to the god. And then when you go say yes here, now she just doesn't give you the gauntlet. Or heavy hoof, rather. And now it's time for the cutscene. Yes, the Espers and the Crystal Ponies. The Great Crystal War. Not much to say here, I'm just letting the scene play, you know. Yeah, I've actually thought the one time, why would the Empire care so much about getting the Esper when they have so many? But then when you get to the Magitech Research Facility, most of the Espers are on the cusp of death already, so it makes sense that they'd want to acquire a live one. Because, they're running out. I had to fit that in. You know, nothing comes of the shipping this game, but I have to include the little nudge wink. Yeah, Flash has his little crush on Twilight, and no one else really cares. That's also one thing I hate, none of the nodding sprites in the game look very natural, because with the pony muzzles sticking out like that, it's just hard to make them look normal. And now Zakora's at our party. First thing we're gonna do is put her in the back row, because she won't be attacking. Oh, also, Luna, I got a steel claw from you. I was very fortunate with that from Gilda. So that's gonna give you a very nice power boost. Celestia, decent. Hang on. Yeah, okay. Twilight, how are you? Twilight, still designated attacker. Let's equip some of these relics now that I have. Oh, okay, that's why I'm wondering, why did her vigor go up? It's because I forgot to equip her with the thick petrol that boosts her strength too. So we're at about 50 minutes here. We'll save the river for next time. So once again, thank you for watching. This has been Drakey's LP/developer commentary on Philly Fantasy 6, and I'll see you next time.